How many times in a day do you say goodbye? Before you left your home this evening, did you say, "I'll be back in an hour"? When you left work, did you say, "I'll see you Monday"? Or when your son left for college, did you say, "We'll see you in a couple weeks"? We say goodbye countless times throughout our lives, but deep down, we take for granted that it's but a temporary parting until we meet again. Tonight we pause to honor those Illinoisans who said their final goodbyes. Tonight we pause to honor our sons and daughters who gave their lives in the War on Terror. Tonight we remember that father who died on a remote mountaintop in Afghanistan, never to see his son throw out his first pitch in a Little League game. Tonight we remember that sister who was killed by an IED in an Iraqi village, never to know the joys of being a mother. When we think of war, we often harken back to World War II. Its size, its scope, its destruction is unprecedented in mankind. We revere those veterans who made the world safe for democracy. We rightly refer to them as the greatest generation because even today, 70 years later, we are the beneficiaries of their sacrifice. Americans have enjoyed an unprecedented standard of living, and it can be directly attributed to the blood, sweat, and tears of the World War II generation. We enjoy comforts that they could hardly imagine. In fact, some say that we're too comfortable. Put it more bluntly, some say we're spoiled. And the sacrifice necessary to maintain our American greatness simply isn't in us. Those critics would have us believe that our best days are behind us. They say it because they think our children are more interested in keeping up with the Kardashians than someday wearing the uniform of a United States Marine. They say it because it seems like we live in a society that reveres the professional athlete more than a decorated Army Ranger. They say it because the acquisition of money, power, and fame appears to be more valued than honor, duty, and loyalty. My friends, I say those naysayers are wrong. Do you know how I know that? Because there is a small group of men and women, an elite group that have it, that sense of honor and duty, that willingness to sacrifice. I know it because 4 years ago, at the age of 42, I found myself in the midst of our next greatest generation while serving in Iraq. I'm talking about 19, 20, 25, 35-year-old men and women who volunteered to walk that wall so that their fellow countrymen wouldn't have to endure another September 11th. While many their age were attending fraternity parties or working their way up the corporate ladder, these warriors endured the tearful goodbyes and the unthinkable hardships that come with a wartime deployment. If you think it's a stretch to call this group the next greatest generation, consider this. During World War II, 12% of the American population wore the uniform. During those 4 years, the war literally touched everybody, every household, every family. Today, by contrast, during our decade-long war on terror, less than 0.5% of this nation has served. At a time when we have so much and enjoy so many comforts, a relatively few have answered the call. At a time when many seem obsessed with the celebrity culture, with getting our share, these select few aspire to something greater. They put themselves in harm's way for us, so that we can enjoy the very freedoms that make those comforts possible. 0.5%. They carried the water time and time again. They are part of a proud tradition, nurtured by the likes of the men and women and our honor guards before us. A proud tradition that stretches back to World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the First Gulf War, and countless conflicts and hard times in between. A long green line that knows no political affiliation and no hyphenated nationality, but rather something greater: honor, duty, country. And therein lies its strength, our strength, and the hope for our future. Young men and women who answer the call not for monetary gain or personal power or personal progress, but because they believe in the promise of America, that it truly is the last best hope on earth, and that they are willing to lay down their lives so that it shall not perish. Tonight we pause to honor those who have served and literally said their final goodbyes on some far-off parcel of land in Iraq or Afghanistan. We take this moment out of what we think is our hectic schedule to reflect upon those names and those pictures on that wall. And we note that this wall bears the names of some of our own: Staff Sergeant Matthew Weichert and Sergeant Andrew Tobin. We also know Philip Panier, and also Christopher Relchik, whose brother happens to manage the local Home Depot. These men answered the call. They said their goodbyes, and they made the ultimate sacrifice. Their families have expressed thanks for the outpouring of support that this community displayed when their sons came home. Tonight it's our turn to thank them for their sacrifice. Tonight we keep a promise that we make with all of our fallen heroes, that your sons and their sacrifices are not forgotten. I was talking to my wife last night, struggling with, what do you say? What do you say to honor parents who have endured this? And it occurred to me that it's already been said by another Illinois politician who's much more eloquent than I ever dare attempt. And I'd like to read this letter that he wrote some years ago. Dear Madam, I have been shown in the files of the War Department a statement of the Adjutant General of Massachusetts that you are the mother of 5 sons who have died gloriously on the field of battle. I feel how weak and fruitless must be any word of mine which should attempt to beguile you from the grief of a loss so overwhelming. But I cannot refrain from tendering you the consolation that may be found in the thanks of the Republic they died to save. I pray that our Heavenly Father may assuage the anguish of your bereavement and leave you only the cherished memory of the loved and the lost, and the solemn pride that must be yours to have laid so costly a sacrifice upon the altar of freedom. Yours very sincerely and respectfully, Abraham Lincoln. May God bless you and comfort you as you struggle to find some sort of peace with your loss. May God bless Matthew, Philip, Andrew, Christopher, and their fallen brothers and sisters in arms. We are a great nation, a better nation, because of their brave souls. Thank you.